Welcome in, friends. Let's go over some tips for the Global Sinnoh Tour this weekend. That way you can be super prepared, know what your top hunts are, and make the most out of this tour weekend. And in the meta relevancy section, I am going to compare the two forms of both Dialga and Palkia. But if you're looking for all the event details, I do have a video out about that already. I'll link it at the end of this video, as well as in the comments section. So I'll give you all my tips at the end, but let's jump right into meta relevancy, starting with Rhyperior, which evolves from Rhyhorn and is a good rock type and ground type raid attacker. But the Shadow is even better. However, if you need rock attackers, getting a few of the non-shadows with good IVs can be helpful. Generally, you do want the Rock Wrecker Legacy move, but Stone Edge functions well enough to hold you over until you get some better rock types. And then in the Master League, it also ranks number 71, again with that Legacy move. Next up is Mamoswine. Now again, that Shadow version is better, with Shadow Mamoswine being the #1 Ice type raid attacker. I use mine often for dragons and flyers. Now as a ground type attacker, he's not as good, but still cracking the top 10 in Shadow form. And then in GBL, Mamo is run in the Master League mainly, with the non-Shadow ranking the highest at number 30. We also have Togekiss, which evolves from Togetic and is one of my favorite fairies. It is a decent fairy type raid attacker, and it also sees some play in the Ultra League and Master League as well. Eevee will also be out in the wild, and it has 3 evolutions that are useful in Pokemon Go. Sylveon can be run in Master League and ranks well as a fairy type raid attacker. Then there is Umbreon, which ranks highest in Great League. It also can be used in Ultra League if you want to spend a lot of Stardust, taking it to level 50. And then Glaceon is also a good budget ice type raid attacker as well. Then we also have Garchomp, which evolves from Gible and has a Mega in the game, which is a top tier dragon and ground type raid attacker, both in Mega and Shadow form. And then just regular Garchomp is also a good Master League Pokemon. We also have Magnezone, which evolves from Magnemite and is better as a Shadow for an electric type raid attacker and in the GBL, but the regular form can be used as a budget option for both raids and GBL as well. Then we have Gallade and Gardevoir, which both evolve from Ralts. Now Gardevoir has a Mega in the game, which is the best fairy type raid attacker, and her Shadow also ranks very high, although other types can outperform fairy types such as dragons on dragons or fighting on darks. It's still a great raid attacker though, and the shiny looks amazing. Plus the Shadow also ranks number 113 in the Master League. Now Gallade can only be evolved from the male Ralts, and it does also have a Mega, but it is not in the game yet. However, it will likely be coming soonish, so you might want a good male Ralts for that. And then the Shadow Gallades are better for GBL, and you can get Shadow Ralts from the fairy type grunts. And then of course we have one of the fan favorites, Lucario, which evolves from Riolu in the eggs, and it is the #4 non-Mega, non-Shadow fighting type raid attacker. It's also good in the Ultra League with access to Shadow Ball, which gives it some great coverage against the top Ultra League meta. After that we have Roserade, which evolves from Bidoof in the eggs and is the #4 poison type raid attacker. We also have the wild looking Licky, which evolves from Lickitung, and both of them have some play in GBL. Lickitung ranks #1 in the Great League, and Licky ranks number 73 in the Ultra League. Gligar is good in the GBL as well in the Great League, and its evolution Gliscor is also good for the Ultra League. After that we have Bastiodon, which evolves from Shieldon. This is another good Great League Mon. And then we also have Mantine, which evolves from Mantike and is again another good Great League Mon, but you can also run it in Ultra League as well. But with a max CP of 2,383, you will need to take it to level 50 and maybe even best buddy it if you want to use it in the Ultra League. All right, let's do a few shoutouts now before we get to Dialga and Palkia. And the reason I'm doing these ones as shoutouts is because generally their Shadow forms are better, but you can use this event to farm candies for them and then use those candies to power up the Shadow variants for either raiding or GBL. All right, get ready because we're going to cover quite a few here very quickly. Let's go. Chansey and Blissey, which both evolve from Happiny, are 2 good gym defenders if you missed the recent Chansey Community Day. Empoleon has some play in Ultra and Master, but the Shadow is better and is available from Grunts right now. The Shadow can also be a decent budget Steel type, but a Shadow takes a lot of Stardust to power up, so it's probably not worth it unless you love this mon. Shadow Torterra is a decent Grass type raid attacker, but again, the Stardust you would use to power it up might not be worth it. Alolan Decidueye, which evolves from Rowlet, has some play in Ultra and Great League. Typhlosion, which evolves from Cyndaquil, can do some damage against core Steel types in Ultra and Master League, but it does need the Legacy move Blast Burn. Samurott, which evolves from Oshawott, can be run in Great and Ultra League as well, but you'll want the Legacy move Hydro Cannon on. Sneasler, which evolves from Hisui and Sneasel, has play in all the open leagues, but mostly as a Shadow. Weavile, which evolves from Sinnoh and Sneasel, is a decent Ice type raid attacker, but its Shadow ranks much higher. Toxicroak, which evolves from Kogunk, is another one that is better as a Shadow as a Poison type raid attacker and in GBL. The same goes for Rampardos as a Rock type raid attacker. The Shadow is superior, ranking at #3, but the non-Shadow can also be used ranking #7. Drapion, which evolves from Scorpy, is another that is better as a Shadow and great and Ultra League, it's kind of middle of the road, but it does have a diverse set of fast and charge moves, allowing you to tailor its coverage to your team. Magnezone, which evolves from Magnemite, again functions better as a shadow for raids and for GBL, but because it can be run in all open leagues, you might want to build a few of the non-shadow versions of these, because the shadow only ranks a little bit higher, but at the very least, farm candies here if you don't have a lot of them. Staraptor, which evolves from Starly, is better as a shadow flying type raid attacker and in Ultra League. Electivire, which evolves from Electabuzz, ranks number 6 as an electric type raid attacker in its shadow form. I know, familiar story. Snorlax, which evolves from Munchlax, is another one that is better as a shadow in GBL and can be gotten from Gunts right now, although it is a rare find. Hatching Munchlax can also get you a decent amount of candies though. And then our final shout out goes to Pachirisu, which ranks high in the Great League, but its low max CP and lack of anything but electric type attacks means it can only fill one specific role on a team with no coverage, but maybe one day it will get its signature moves. Alright, now let's jump into comparing each form of Dialga and Palkia. And first up, let's look at Palkia, which is a good steel type raid attacker, coming in at number 4, and then it is a number 15 dragon type raid attacker as well, and then in Master League it is ranked number 29. Looking at the origin form, it has 5 less points for attack, but 14 more points for defense, with stamina staying the same, which makes it a bit of an upgrade for PvP, taking it to number 20 in the rankings for the origin form. Now, of course, the origin form also has that signature move Roar of Time, which replaces Outrage as the dragon charged attack. And in terms of raid attacking, the decrease to attack does make the origin form less effective as a steel type, as the moves are the same, but as a dragon type raid attacker, that Roar of Time signature move more than makes up for the attack drop and brings it from number 15 into the top 10 at number 8 as a dragon type raid attacker. Just keep in mind, it does need its Roar of Time signature move for both raiding and PvP to take those top spots. All right, next up, let's take a look at Palkia's forms. Now, Palkia is a better dragon type raid attacker than Dialga. However, it still doesn't crack the top 10, coming in at number 11. And then for Master League, it ranks number 7 on PV Poke right now. However, in his origin form, he gains 6 to attack and 8 to defense, with stamina staying the same. This is a straight upgrade for Palkia, with a Master League ranking of number 1 on PV Poke and a number 4 ranking as a dragon type raid attacker. Just keep in mind that again, you need the signature move Spatial Rend to take full advantage of those ranking boosts for the origin form. All right, that's been your meta relevancy report for the Sinnoh Tour. Let's talk rare Pokemon now. And of course, we always have to start with the unknowns. They generally only come out during events like these and off the incense, and they can be shiny. So definitely throw on your incense each day and go out and get some shiny unknowns, hopefully. Because as I said, the unknowns themselves are rare and the shinies are even rarer. Then we have Rotoms, which are even rarer than the unknowns, and there is one from a timed research right now. I'll put the code and link to get the research in the video description below. But I would say right now, wait until the tour starts to claim it. I don't know whether the shiny has been turned on pre-tour. We also have White Stripe Basculin from Routes. It is new and it will be rare as it is locked in Routes. However, the spawns do appear to be plentiful from those reports from people at the LA tour, and they can be shiny as well. So definitely hunt this one on at least one route, get one for the Dex entry. But if you do a loop route and just keep walking around the route without ending it, this seems to work to keep White Stripe Basculin spawning. Or you could also walk back and forth along a route that doesn't loop and just keep walking from the start to the end to the start, back and forth until you're done hunting White Stripe Basculin. And then we also have those 10k eggs with the regionals that are usually only found in certain areas of the world. So this is a great way to get them, and they can also be shiny. So definitely stock up on those 10k eggs during the event. Which brings us to the tips section of the video. I am going to start with a tip to get as many of those 10-kilometer eggs as possible. So what you want to do is 1, start hatching as many eggs as you can right now. Get them out of your inventory. Any new eggs you get at this point will be 2-kilometer event eggs for the Road to Sinnoh event. So they will be easy to get rid of later when the event starts, especially with the half hatch distance. It'll only take 1 kilometer to get rid of them. Once you've prepped your egg space as much as you can before the tour, go out, start spinning those stops and getting those event eggs, and then hatch all the low kilometer ones first. So start with the 2 kilometers, hatch those. Once you've worked your way through all those lower kilometer ones, then start hatching the 10-kilometer eggs. And then of course you can stock up on super incubators, which will reduce the hatch distance of any eggs placed in them even further, and it will allow you to hatch more than 1 egg at a time. I've also got the usual candy tip here for you. So use those pineapple berries for 2 times the candy, or the silver pineapples for 2.33 times the candy. Now, pineapples are good for those easy to catch wild encounter Pokemon, and then silver pineapples are also good for those harder to catch Pokemon like Dialga and Palkia, because it also increases your chance to catch the Pokemon. And then you can also save Pokemon from the Sinnoh Tour to trade with a friend, and trading will get you more candy, and then you'll get even more candy for trading with a friend who caught their Pokemon far away from where you caught your Pokemon. And because it is the season of timeless travels, you will also get extra candy for trading, as well as a guaranteed Candy XL. And then another way to get more candy is to wait for a 2 times transfer candy event. Usually these are spotlight hours, and Niantic did plan it so that there is a 2 times transfer Transfer Candy Spotlight Hour right after the Global Tour event, so that will be the Tuesday after the weekend, and it will be a Sandshrew Spotlight Hour, but any Pokemon that you transfer during that hour will get 2 times transfer candy. And not only that, but no matter which Pokemon you transfer, you will also get a chance at a rare Candy XL, which is something super rare, so definitely save as many Pokemon as you can to transfer during that event. Even if you trade them, save the ones that you traded that you don't want, and then transfer them during the Spotlight Hour. And then just a little reminder here, don't forget that you get 6 special trades for this event, so make sure you do all 6 of those special trades both days of the event. You also don't want to forget about party play during this event. If you're going to be playing with friends, definitely make sure you use party play. It will help you with that party power in raids, which gives you 2 times damage to your charged attacks, but there will also be exclusive event tasks for the party play, and then using party play during the event can also lead to an encounter with Regigigas. Now let's take a look at which medals you'll be able to work on during this event, and of course the Sinnoh Dex medal is an obvious one here. You won't be able to complete the Sinnoh Dex because Manaphy and Phione won't be released. Arceus is not yet in the Sinnoh Dex, so Arceus's Dex number is not listed in the Sinnoh Dex in Pokemon Go, but Manaphy and Phione are, so we can't complete it until they debut, but you will be able to make a lot of good progress on it, hopefully being able to catch everything except for Manaphy and Phione. You'll also be able to work on the Unknown medal, so you have to catch all 28 Unknowns to complete this medal. Of course, you can't get all 28 during this weekend, but if any of the ones that are going to be out are ones you're missing, make sure you get at least one of those. You'll also be able to work on the 2 rating medals, so the Rising Star medal, which requires you to defeat 150 different species of Pokemon in raids. With the Sinnoh starters out, that will be one you'll be able to work on by doing those, as well as the Origin Form Dialga and Palkia if you haven't done any of those, or just any species of Pokemon that you haven't rated before. You might want to hit one of them up just to add to this medal. And then of course there is the Battle Legend one as well, which requires you to defeat 1,000 legendary raids. With both forms of Dialga and Palkia being out during this event, as well as some other legendaries, you can definitely work on that one as well. There's also the Pikachu fan medal, which requires you to catch 1,000 Pikachus. So with all these costume Pikachu around, you'll definitely be able to make progress there as well. And then there is also the Picnicker medal, which requires you to use a lure to help any trainer catch 2,500 Pokemon. So any trainer means you or any other trainer. So if you get out to your grind spot early, where there will be lots of other people grinding as well, you can throw down a lure or 2 and make some good progress here as well. All right, for any of those who bought the Shiny Shaymin Masterwork Research, let's take a quick look at that and the tasks that we know are associated with it. So on page 1, you have to catch 492 Pokemon from the Kanto region, 492 Pokemon from the Johto region, 492 Pokemon from the Hoenn region, and 492 Pokemon from the Sinnoh region. Obviously that Sinnoh region one will be easy to complete with the Sinnoh Tour, but the other ones will probably take you a bit of time. Now on the second page, we have catch 20 grass type Pokemon, which will get you an encounter with the plant Cloak Burmy, as well as catch a Pokemon 7 days in a row, and then catch a Pokemon 21 different days in a row as well. Now nobody has completed those yet, there hasn't been enough time, but once they do, LeakDuck will update this infographic. There is a LeakDuck link in the description of every video I put out, a great resource, definitely one to check out. Keep an eye there for more updates on the Shiny Shaymin Masterwork Research tasks and rewards. Now one other thing I do want to say about the Masterwork Research is that it might require you to complete the Sinnoh Dex as it is now, so that means you might have to get Manaphy and Phione. Not entirely sure. That has been the case for past Masterwork Research, that you had to complete an entire Dex. However, because they are withholding some Sinnoh Pokemon from this tour, they might not include that task, but it's hard to say, so definitely make sure you get all the Sinnoh Pokemon you can during the Sinnoh Tour. All right, let's go over a few IRL tips right now. This is an 8-hour event, so you are going to want to make sure you are prepped and ready to go for those 2 8-hour days if you're grinding the entire day. And one of the best things you can do is 1, plan your route accordingly. So make sure you plan your route and that there are places for you to stop and take a break along those routes, preferably ones that have stops and gyms, so you can do some raiding and you can also lure up those spots and catch Pokemon while you sit and take a break. You'll also want to pack some food to bring with you so that when you're sitting and taking a break, or even when you're on the go, you can have some food as well as some water. Definitely pack healthier snacks, as those will fill you up and give you more energy. Try to avoid things like chips, candy, and chocolate. Go for things that are a little bit healthier. You'll also want to charge up your phone and a battery pack if you have one the night before to make sure that it is ready to go. And then if you have an auto catcher, don't forget about that as well. If it's one that's charged, charge it up. If it's one that takes batteries, make sure that not only the batteries that are in it are good, but that you have some spare batteries to bring with you in case it dies. And then finally, just a little mental health tip here. Make sure that you set your expectations reasonably. This is not an event that has a large shiny boost. There is some shiny boost. They didn't say how much it was, but it's probably not going to be that you're getting tons and tons of shinies each each day like you do on a community day. You might get 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 in a day. That would be a very good day. And just keep in mind that shinies are supposed to be rare and hard to get. That is what makes them special. So yeah, just set your expectations reasonably. That way you won't be disappointed and you will be able to enjoy what is no doubt going to be a very fun event. All right, everybody, that's all the tips I've got for you. If you've got some that I didn't include here, feel free to leave them in the comments below for the community. And I will be streaming this event both days. So if you want to extend your Sinnoh Tour fun after you're done, because I am in one of the last time zones to play, you can always come to the live stream. But if you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like button and subscribing for more Pokemon Go news, tips, and live streams. If you want more Pokemon Go content right now, check out one of the videos on screen. Happy hunting. I hope you fill out that Sinnoh Pokedex as much as possible, and we'll see you in the next one, friends.
I've got something incredibly funky.